So I've been wanting to make a Blender tutorial for quite a while, and I finally had a good idea. I'm going to make a realistic sky tutorial for eevee, and this works on eevee, it works on cycles. If you want to do it on cycles, you can make it even more realistic, but this was actually windowed entirely in eevee and does look pretty good. So let's get into the video. In a new Blender file, let's go to the shading editor. And here we go, let's go to the window view mode, and let's go to world settings. So this is what we have. Let's add in sky texture right here. Put that into there. Now it's not going to actually show us anything because we are not in cycles. We switch over to cycles and wait a few seconds. Then as you can see, we do have a sky texture. But if you want to do it in eevee, it's a little bit different. What you have to do is switch over to Preetham, and we have a sky. Not as good as the Nishita, but it's pretty good. And then the next thing we want to do is we're going to switch over this into a sun. And as you can see, this sun is very, very bright. So let's just tone it down to 10. It's going to make it look a little bit better. And also, let's just position our camera. So, let's just hide this for right now. Let's position the camera so the sun is pointing straight at us, and rotate this until it is about where the sun is, and that's going to give us realistic shadows, because the sky texture isn't going to give us shadows automatically. So I'm just going to, it's a little bit tricky to get it in just the right spot. I think that's pretty good. So it's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. You can get as close as you want. So I think it could actually be a little bit. So now that I have that, I want to add in some clouds. So clouds aren't too hard to add. All you have to do is make a mix. You want to take a mix RGB, and that's gonna be good. Now what you want to do is add a noise texture. Noise texture. Plug it into the factor, not into color. And now, as you can see, we do have some clouds going on. If we want the clouds to be a little bit lighter, we can up that. But as you can see, the clouds, this is a very, very cloudy day. Another thing I want to do is just tone up the detail to about 4. Tone up the roughness a little bit. And tone up the distortion not too much. If you tone it up too much, then it's going to start to look like that. 1 looks pretty good for me. But now what we want to do is take a color lamp and put it to that to make it so that our clouds are not covering the entire sky. So you're just going to drag this way, and once we do that, we're going to start having the clouds looking a little bit better. So we can kind of control this as much as we want to get the good clouds. And another thing is, if you want, you can put the detail up a little bit more, and that will make our clouds look even more detailed. You can put down the distortion a little bit, depending on what type of clouds you are trying to make. I think this looks pretty good. Now that we have that done, we have our sky, and it looks really good. And also, if we show the cube and the plane, then as you can see, we have realistic shadows that kind of really look good. This looks very good. It's pretty realistic. It's not anything wrong with it. In real life, not all clouds look the same. And maybe you want to mix 2 or more different types of clouds together. So right here, I have some big wispy clouds, which look really nice. And also, if I have right over here, I have small fluffy clouds, which look nice. But if I want to mix them together, so is add a mix, switch it over to add, put it into here, put this into here, and then, yeah, now we have both of the different types of clouds looking really nice, and this kind of makes it look even better than it did before. I'm gonna say, if I put it all the way up, I believe it makes it look pretty good like that. So yeah, that looks nice. So now we have all of the clouds. Let's just position our camera. Let's go over here, add object constraint, track to the cube, move it down, so you can see all of the nice details. So, the light is also hidden. Let's show that light. That looks pretty good. You can always tone down the light if you want to. If it looks too intense, you can just tone it down to 5 maybe. And that looks good. If you think it doesn't look intense enough, put it up to 15. It's really up to how your textures look. Because if you make your texture a little bit darker, then it'll just look... If it looks too white, that's because your texture or your material is white. So just convert that into a less bright material, and then you should be good. Before you go, here are some windows I made using the sky texture. This one was made in cycles. As you can see, it has some nice realistic clouds and good lighting. And this is eevee. It's not as good, but it still looks pretty good. If you want to do animations, I would recommend using eevee. If you don't want it to take it all night to window like 5 seconds of animation, then use eevee. It's much quicker.